Hello, welcome to my home. My name is Lisa. This is my channel about stitching and creating. So hope you'll enjoy your visit. Hope you have some coffee or tea or my favorite, Dr. Pepper. And you'll just sit back and we'll chat about stitching and maybe we can get excited and motivate each other. And I say that as far as motivate each other, but you guys motivate me by all the messages I've been getting on Instagram and people who have been saying, hey, let's stitch together on this or that or the other. And so I feel like it is a way that we can motivate each other if we use the tools that are so easily available to us and use technology to our benefit instead of our frustration. Technology is usually not my friend, but I've decided to really try to embrace it, learn the things I need to learn so that I can interact with a lot of wonderful people. So I have a ton of stuff around me. It's a good thing the camera doesn't let you guys focus on wherever you want. I have a very narrow area that doesn't look too junky right at the moment, and and that's what y'all get to see. But around me are some piles of stuff, and I've been wanting to talk about different things, and so today's going to be the day. So I have a big finish that I want to talk about, and then that's finished stitching. I still have to frame it, and then today I have some fully finished objects that I want to share. I have some plans. I have a new start. Excuse me. And I don't have a Dr. Pepper, but I have some future hopes that I want to get done. And hopefully I don't overwhelm myself, because sometimes I do that. Excuse me. I will get all excited about all the things and then wear myself out and don't get anything done. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And if it does, somebody push me and say, hey, you're doing it. Get busy. So, but I can tell that I've been moving around quite a bit and I'm going to start coughing quite a bit. So I'm going to go grab a Dr. Pepper and I'll be back in just like a second. It won't even be like I left. Okay, that's better. So, where should we start? I think I will start with my fully finished objects, because that's normally how we roll in flosstube. So, as you might know, we've been working as a community like crazy on the new market release from Brenda. I swear everybody and their brother are making our little pin cushions, which is awesome. It's very exciting. So in the last video I had shared that I made a little stack of tomatoes, and the plan was to put them in this little green tray. So I was able to take and finish a few of the pillows, and I made a few more tomatoes. And so my little tray is starting to fill up, but I still have further to go with it. But, so the 2 extra tomatoes I made, I just used like a plaid calico from my quilting stash, and I just used some velvet. In the past ones that I made, I had turned one of the shapes from Lori Holt's So Simple Shapes, because I couldn't draw a star. I think I told you guys in the last video. So anyway, but this time I just thought to make it simple, I just cut like a circle shape out of velvet and just used, oh, there's thread. Imagine that, there's some thread on that. It's crazy in my house. But So I did it the same way with as the tutorial that I saw from Celeste Create. So if you want to make some, if you go to her YouTube channel, she has a tutorial. And so, and then I used mostly walnut crystals and just a little bit of polyfill on the top part of it, and then scrunched them really flat just for something different. I don't want them all to be the same shape. And then I found a little antique one at the thrift store, so I threw that in there. And then I finished a couple of my stitched pieces that I had shown the finished stitching on last time. Boy, when there's walnut crystals in them, they're hard to share. They're hard to show. They just flop. Stand pretty. Anyway, so this one is my sole is fed with needle and thread, and then I just put some of that velvet to hide the opening on my pillow. So that was that one. And then I also stuffed this little one, the ABC one, and the same deal, just put a little bit of the velvet on the back. I don't know, I might try to do one of those, some of those big fancy stitches on the back. We'll see. But anyway, tickled with how that's turning out. So again, that was Keeper of the Pins by Brenda Gervais. And there's still a few more, if you haven't seen these designs, there's still a few more designs left to do. I have one of them almost all the way stitched. I just have to do, I think, a little bit of the back stitching that holds the over one strawberry. I think that's the only thing I have to do on this one, and then it'll be ready to go. And then I started the one with the bird, and I have the bottom spools done. I just have to pick a color for my blue bird and just do a little bit more stitching on that. So I'm closing in on getting all that accomplished. Okay, so now, but anyway, so here's another view of the little box before I set it down. Okay, so that was my fully finished object. I have a very exciting finish. If you've been on my channel before, you know that like probably for 2 or 3 years I've been stitching Summer at Hollyberry Farm. It has not been something that I have dedicated a ton of time to, although it did take a lot of time to stitch it, but I would just work on it a little bit and then put it away, work on it, put it away. Anyway, it's done. Last time I was on, I showed that I only had like maybe I don't know, 6 or 7 inch segment left to do on the border. And of course, then it was always that fear, is my border gonna line up? And I had already planned that it probably wasn't going to, and that I was just gonna fudge my way through it. I was already very happy with that plan. So, because there's tons of berries on this one, if you haven't seen it before, it's a beautiful piece. So, and I was all excited because I was almost positive that the frame that I had purchased at Hobby Lobby was going to be just the perfect frame. And so I came in here this morning thinking that I might try to fully frame it to share it with you, and it's too small. But it'll give you an idea. I already had it in there, so I thought, well, I'll show you real quick about it, and then I'll take it out. So, but anyway, she's all finished, but as you can tell, there's just not near enough margin around the border. So that's okay. I will either go have a custom frame made just a little bit bigger, or I will just hunt a little bit more But anyway, I'm just so tickled that this thing is finished. My border really wasn't too awful to get to line up. I just added a couple little leaves. See, I think it was this border here. So I just added a couple extra leaves just to make it all line up. They have already, I think, planned for that type of an issue when she designed it, because there's just little clusters of berries in the corner, so it's not as obvious of a difference if you don't line up, which was very clever of her. But I took I did some little dogs. I have one that's kind of a black dog for Sarah, and then this one is Marshall, and then this one will be Bella. I messed up on the neck, and the neck is a little bit chubby, and her neck is chubby compared to her head, so I think it all worked out. But anyway, hallelujah, it's done, and way before my goal of July 4th, so hopefully I'll have a frame and have it all fully framed by then. But so I guess I shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch. But anyway, so the big ordeal last time was I couldn't figure out what red I had used on the berries. I just had a little section to do left on the corner of the berries, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get it done. And then there was absolutely no red in the project bag where I had that. And I thought, oh dear. So anyway, then I ran across the color and I thought, oh, this is it. This is it. And I stitched a few berries, and it was like late at night, and I thought, oh yeah, this is great. No, it wasn't the right color. So the next morning when I was going to do a few more, I realized, no, it wasn't the right color. I didn't rip it out. It was close enough that, and I don't know if you'd be able to see it with the camera or not, but I had done like these berries here, right here, and you can tell they were just a little bit paler than the right red. Anyway, so then I got really mad and I kind of put it away. But then I had a new start. I wanted to start this one as a memorial sampler for the anniversary of my mom's passing. And I started that on Sunday. I went ahead and picked my colors. So I went through my stash of DMC, and I picked out some colors that I thought would work pretty good. And I really loved this one red. It was DMC 498, which it shows really kind of crazy on the camera, but it's a really beautiful red. Anyway, I started my new start. And when I went to tie off the ends on the back, when I was done with one of my strawberries, I thought, gosh, that reminds me of the berries, you know, that I on that big piece. And when you know, I held that thread over onto the berries, and when you know, I'm pretty sure that is the exact color that I was using. So I was able to finish my border, and I kind of smiled thinking to myself, well, Ma helped me out. She sent me the color. So anyway, so these are the colors I'm using for Humble and Kind. I'm using my little thread drop that was gifted to me by Debbie. And I started it on Monday. And I really was having such a good time with it, I could hardly put it down. I believe that this fabric, I know it's an R&R fabric, and I believe it's Patriot's Brew. Pretty sure. And of course that was the one thing I left in by my sewing area. But isn't it pretty? I'm just so tickled with how it turned out. Now in the main charting of it, the colors are much different. And if you're interested in some of my thought processes on it, I mean, if you go back to my last video, I talked a little bit about, you know, the house that I was born in. I don't really have much memory of it, but it's a white house, and it was my mom's favorite, I think. So, so it's going to have a white house, and the strawberries were two-toned, strawberries in the original charting, but somehow I just like them to be all solid. So I think I'm going to take some black and do some little seeds on it just to make it kind of look a little bit more like a strawberry. But I started with the fence in the house, and anyway, was totally loving this. So I worked on it, I think, like in Monday night and then Tuesday and Tuesday night, because I just loved it. I couldn't put it down. But boy, I just love this fabric. I'm almost positive it's an R. Well, I know it's an R&R. I'm almost positive it was the Patriots Brew, but it's 36 count, I believe. So had a ton of fun with that one. Let's see. I'm trying to keep my stuff in order so that when I go to put this away, it doesn't take me a gazillion years. Okay, and so the rest of the stuff is pretty much in no special order. It's just in the order that it's all piled up. So I did a little bit more on Seasons of the Heart. I'm working on, by Brenda Gervais, I'm working on the spring one at the top. And if you saw last video, you saw that I had the roof in the complete wrong area. So, and this is on 40 count. Let me just get that fabric, just a second. Okay, so I had two papers that I found when I was going through all my stuff here. And so the 36 count was vintage beeswax. Oh, I'm glad I looked. So I don't know. It was either vintage beeswax or Patriots Brew. Those are pretty much the ones I've narrowed it down to. So anyway, see, I try to be, you know, helpful and share my colors, but a lot of times I don't buy the real fancy fabric, and so I'm just using thrift store stuff. But lately I've been buying the nice linen, because really it does go quite a ways. I don't leave a huge margin because I know I'm going to frame them myself, and so it doesn't take as much as I thought. But anyway, I got the roof. So this is on 40 count. That makes me that so vintage. This is definitely a 40 count, because I remember taking the roof out that I had sewn pretty much the entire roof in the wrong spot. Was kind of a bummer to pick out 40 count, but anyway, got the roof taken out and put in the right spot, and then I worked on my house. But I'm just loving this. Very enjoyable. Other than 40 count. 40 count is tough for me. I cannot, and maybe I just need to get an even smaller needle. I think I'm using a 28. And it's hard for me to do the sewing method with it. I have to do the poke and stab, which to me slows me down and is not near as enjoyable. But I love how little and delicate everything looks. So it's kind of a bummer. But these are the colors that I'm using for it. I'm just using DMC. And I think there's an anchor thrown in here somewhere. But just picked my own colors. Even though I love the colors Brenda chooses, I just picked my own stuff that I have here. Okay, and so on the other half of this is where I am doing my Plum Street Shepherd Song. And so I've had some new people help motivate me, and they're stitching along with me. So I'm going to have to come up with a hashtag. I should start, well, when I rewatch this, I'll leave myself notes on things I need to get done. But so this is what I have so far on Shepherd Song. And I'm kind of stalled out because it's like, okay, do I want a black house? And then part of me says, well, that's what drew you to this pattern. So yeah, you need to have a black house. But it's not called for fabric that I'm using. And so I don't know that the called for colors, I bought the called for colors in the grass and it doesn't show up. If you look at the curls on my trees, you can just barely see them. And so that's the called for color for the grass. So I know I have to pick out the grass, and I have to decide on the house color and go purchase that, because I think that needs to be a variegated thread. I think that would really show off the house really well. So that's another big decision, and I hadn't really fully decided on the colors I was going to use for the sheep. So I was kind of at a standstill at what direction I wanted to go, and I had pretty much stalled out because I was just tired of doing the flowers along the edge. They're not hard or anything, but that's just the majority of what I'd been working on, and I was kind of over it. So I decided I would start working on this one sheep, and right here. And of course, when I found that I started the body of the sheep to outline it, and then I thought, okay, there are just a few squiggles in this little sheep right here, and I thought, well, I'll just do the little squiggly lines, and then I can just do fill-in. Won't that be easy? And I can just do that at night when I'm not feeling like focusing on my chart. And I messed up on the squiggles somewhere, and so it was like, I don't know, 10:30, almost 11, and I thought, okay, that's enough. Just a second. I dropped something with a ton of pins on it, and I could just see myself stepping on it. Okay, so anyway, so I'm very excited on some of the pictures that I've been receiving. Nancy sent me a picture of her finish, and that was really exciting to see the changes that she made to personalize it to her liking. And so instead of the "May goodness and mercy follow thee" at the top, she had put in just an alphabet, which was beautiful. And she changed her door to a brighter red color that she's using, I think, in the flowers. So that just set off the door so nice. And to make it fit her frame, she put on another little border. So anyway, it was fun seeing her finish, and that motivated me a ton. And then I have some other ones, Claire and Darlie, I believe is her name, who have joined me. So that's our Monday. So we've been trying to stitch it on Monday. So if anybody has Shepherd Song and you're excited to get started and want some motivation, you can join the bandwagon. And like I said, I'm hoping to figure out some kind of hashtag that we could do so that we could all follow each other real easily. Okay, so yesterday morning before work, I just had, I don't know, maybe an hour, and I had just watched Carol Saltbox Stitcher's video, and she, at the end of her video, showed her Red House sampler, and it's just beautiful, and that made me excited to work on mine. And so I went ahead and pulled mine out, and I had already done, so this is how much I have so far. I just have the bottom corner working on it, and I had already done the leaves and the stem on this little motif. And so I went ahead and picked a couple blues, and I just started stitching those. So I think I got 2 or 3 of the little flowers done before work, and then last night I finished, I think, the 3rd one and went on to finish that little motif. So that was fun. So thanks, Carol, for motivating me to pull this one out. I hadn't pulled this out in a long time. Still tons of decisions I have to make, because sorry, my nose is itching. I usually kind of change my colors as I go, and so I don't even have all my colors picked for this yet. Originally my house was going to be this red color, and I've decided to make it a blue house. And I really love this teal, so I'm thinking I might do all my flowers in that teal color, and then I have to pull out that red because I don't like that red, and it needs to go. Okay, so I worked a little bit on that. Boy, I'm kind of chatty today. You guys might need some kind of sugary thing to keep you awake. Maybe a cookie or something. Okay, and so then one day we were outside sitting. I want to say it was last weekend. Gosh, we've had such weird weather. I'm in Ohio. And so last weekend, I think it was like 82, something like that, on Saturday and Sunday, where it had been like in the 40s before that. And so it's just like, boom, we have one day that's really nice that wasn't raining and we could be outside working. And it was like 82 degrees. Well, I'm not used to 82 degrees. So it was like, we were trying to sit in the shade, and it was like, well, I'm over it. But I did do a little bit of stitching. It wasn't necessarily by my pond, but I did do some fill-in stitching outside on the back porch, sitting with Larry. So I did fill in. I think I filled in this middle hill and almost the next one. So that was kind of fun. I'm really enjoying having some projects that are just already outlined, and I don't have to take my chart out. All I have to take is just my cheaters and scissors, and I'm all set. So that's been good. Then I've been trying to pull out some different projects that I hadn't worked on in a while. And I thought, gosh, summer is going to be here before I realize it. So I wanted to do my Prairie Schooler Summer Breeze. So I'm working on the big chart. So pretty. I was inspired to do this one, I think, from Lori Holt. I think she has some of these done and has them mounted on a book. It's really pretty. So I decided to pull mine out and try to get a little bit done. So I think I had Hum of the Bees done. I just did Birds and Trees and the Scent of Flowers, and then I started working on the beehive. So I have to fill in the beehive and do a little bee here, and then I get to start working on the willow tree and the house, which is the funnest part. So anyway, very happy with how that one's turning out. And then I decided to continue working a little bit more. I worked on it last 2 weeks, and I thought, well, I'll work a little bit more on my Rabbit Hollow Farm by Stacy Nash. I shared it last time where I had worked a little bit more on the border. So I think I had done like 2 more flowers on the side. So I was able to take all the flowers down to the corners. And then, did you notice I even kind of pressed my stuff? Ha ha ha. I'm getting so professional at this. As I probably will totally put my foot in it now. Anyway, there's just an urn on one side and a little tulip on the other, and then I'm at the bottom of the piece. And then I was able to fill in almost all of the rabbits. I have one more to do, and then I can just have fill in on the grass. And then I have to do some more on this little border, which isn't my favorite. It's very easy to mess up. You wouldn't think it would be. You'd think it would be a real simple, I think it's considered a satin stitch. Anyway, it's real easy to get off, but whatever. But yeah, liking that. I have to do a little bit on there's like a little porch on the building that I have to do also. But I didn't have that color in my project bag. So I have to go looking for that. Story of my life. Okay. So that pretty much sums up my stitching over the last 2 weeks. I feel like I was able to touch quite a few of my projects, and that kind of spurred me on a little bit. And I've been hearing a little bit of talk lately about mania, and I've been trying to decide whether I'm going to do it. And I don't really do it, I don't think the way it was originally designed. Usually if I have something that I started on a previous mania, like the year before, and I haven't finished it, then I work on it that same day. But if it's a day that I did finish the project that I had been working on, then I was able to start something new. And so that's the way I've been doing it. And so most of the time I have half whips that I work on, and then the other half is new designs. But really, I don't have enough charts unless I do a ton of little freebies and things, which I have a ton of those also. I haven't decided. I just don't really know if I want to try to do it. I think it's gonna be here before I realize it. And there's so many things that I have in process already. So I'm not sure. And now I might see a couple videos here in the next day or so about people's mania plans and how they've got all these things kitted and ready to go, and I might completely change my mind. So don't hold me to it. But yeah, I'm still kind of undecided on that. But I don't really have much time to go. I think what is next? Is it next Sunday, the 1st of May? I'm not sure. Okay. So I had been going over some of my previous videos, mainly trying to see if I ever talked about what color I used on Summer at Hollyberry Farm for those berries. I don't really watch my videos very much after I've done it. Now, I usually will watch it before I post it just to make sure I don't do anything really stupid that I'm not aware of, which still could pass my attention, and I still probably do it anyway. But yeah, so I got back onto some of my older ones and was looking at them and trying to see if I talked about that color somewhere, which I didn't notice that I had. But I did see a bunch of projects that I talked about having as plans that I hadn't finished yet. So I thought, oh, I should try to pull some of those things out. So these are just some random things that I have run across either by watching an older video or just from trying to find something in my sewing room and going through piles of things that I've unearthed some stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't either finished this or haven't worked on it more. So that's what this little segment's going to be. I thought I would just share some of it, and then maybe I might motivate myself into some action over here. So when I was going through a little pile, I ran across this little piece that was planned as a drum. It was a freebie off Be Well and Stitch. It actually says Be Well at the bottom. And so I just kind of pinned it into a drum shape just to see, you know, oh, I think that would look cute. And so I'm going to go and watch Vanna the Twisted Stitcher's tutorial again. She is who I watched when I did my first drum. This is Indigo Blue, I think, by Brenda Gervais, and I made it into a drum using Vanna's tutorial, which was a wonderful tutorial. I really felt like it was very, very clear, very decisive of as far as what I should do. It was easy for me to decide, yeah, I want to use, you know, this little velvet on the top. But I love how it turned out. So this was my first drum. And then this was my second drum. This is Acorn House by Heartstring Samplery. And so made it into a drum. And this one, I have to admit, I wasn't as patient as I was on the first drum. The first drum, I just stuffed. And this one, I think I stopped stuffing a little bit too soon. But I am still really happy with the way it turned out. But I felt like it needed something, so I tried making some acorns. And I just have them hanging on the side. I just put some little black headed pins in there, a bulb pin with a few little leaf buttons. Anyway, so I was real happy with that, and that just sits over on a shelf in my sewing room. But I thought, oh gosh, so maybe if I get out some of my drums and really like play with them and like pet them, maybe I'll be excited to do another one. So hopefully in the very near future, I will have this little guy made into a drum to go. Maybe I could even put that in my little tomato box. A drum? I don't know. Anyway, so that was one of my little motivator things that I thought, okay, that's something I should try to work on. What else did I run across? Oh, I ran across this piece, my Jane Eyre, that I had talked about framing it with a little piece of fabric on the side to try to make it just the right size for my frame. So I have that I need to get busy on. And then I ran across this quilt top. I know I've showed this a zillion times. So I'm hoping that's going to be one of the lists of things that I'm going to put on there, is to go down into the basement and get me some batting and something that I want to put on the back of it. And then maybe I will get that quilted today. What time is it? It is, oh gosh, it's almost noon. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen today, but it might. Who knows? I was all excited the other day. I came into the sewing room. I think it was the last day I videoed, actually. And I came into my sewing room and I thought, well, let's see, maybe I will get, excited and motivated and I'll get something done. And so my first thought was this quilt that I've shown many times before, and it's past Easter, but I still think I'm the type that I will decorate with bunnies all spring. I might get rid of like the little chicks or the eggs or anything that would like totally scream Easter. I'll get rid of those, but I usually keep bunnies out all spring. Well, really all year I have them out. But anyway, but I've talked about this one to death. I have terrible issues with my half square triangles in the border, but I ran across this fabric a while back and I thought, you know what, I bet that would be pretty if I just added another border to this quilt and try to take some of the attention away from my half square triangles that don't meet in the corner. And so that was my plan. I was going to get this out and I was going to put borders on this quilt and get it to just the size that I wanted it to be. And then I was going to hurry and do, I had one little thing I had to blanket stitch around it, and I was going to get that thing on my handy quilter. That was going to be my goal for the day. I didn't really have any cleaning I had to do, and I felt like I was wide open for getting something major done. And wouldn't you know, I could not find that blue fabric in my sewing room anywhere. I turned this place upside down and I couldn't find it. So anyway, so then I was discouraged and mad at myself that my sewing room is such a disaster. And then I got mad and I just sat here and didn't get anything done. But I did do a video, so I guess I did pull something out of the day. But anyway, so that's hopefully one of my goals. I really want to try to have that done by my next video, because I mean, it's spring is here and it's almost passing, and I need to get that up on the wall. So that's going to be one of my goals. I think that's going to be my main goal, to get that one up and on my wall, because I don't even know where I'm going to put this one. This is really not my colors. I love this fabric, and I just did it as a memorial quilt for Leanne, and I know she loved red, and so I did it in red, but I don't even really know where I'm even going to put this in my house. So I think that needs to go on the back burner, and the spring one needs to get up on the wall, right? So that's one of my goals. And then I was in a quilt shop on Monday. I wanted to go and get Loretta a birthday present. Her birthday was yesterday, and happy birthday, Loretta. And so I went to the Pomegranate place. It's in Hartville, Ohio. I'd only been there maybe once or twice before. Anyway, so I got us some really pretty fabric. I got her a bundle of fat quarters, and I got me one. I opened the one because I didn't know what line this was, and it's, I think, by Sweetwater. Chicks, I think is what it's called. And I don't know if all of these are from that line. These were bolts that were in like two sections, kind of close to each other. And I didn't open all of these to see. But oh, they're so cute. And this one has some writing on it. Just like a little rope print. This is just a solid. Some more writing. And then bees. So I'm super excited about this. And so I told Loretta, I said, well, we're going to make a wall hanging together, because she's really getting into quilting. She's been making a cover for her sewing machine. And so she's really starting to enjoy it. And so I said, well, let's try to do a wall hanging. And so I knew I had a beehive pattern in this Bonnie Sullivan book that I have, A Change of Seasons. And so this is sort of what I had in mind. It's not going to necessarily be in a vase or anything. I just thought we could do in the center of the wall hanging, do this little hive, and maybe throw in a couple of these pretty Black-Eyed Susans just at the base of the beehive. And I like the bird. I think the bird is super cute, but it has some bees in there. So I thought we could do that, you know, roughly in the center. And then on the edges, we could do just sawtooth stars for a border. And then maybe just throw another little border on it. So I thought that would be super easy and cute. And it would be a good, easy quilt for her. So that's on my plan too. So I want to start to get that all planned out, because Loretta's all ready to go. She's like, well, you know, what are we doing? So she's going to motivate me to get my butt off this chair, I think. So that's in my plans. Let me see. I think I've talked about all of the little piles I had set around. I do want to work a little bit more on my tomatoes. That's another goal. I want to have those other ones finished and hopefully FFO'd by the next video. So you guys are helping me stay motivated. And oh, I did have one more I have one more project that I thought about maybe framing, and I had completely forgot about it. This is a Not Forgotten Farm chart, and it's called Sepia Sampler, but I changed all the colors. I used her colors that she used in Spring Farmhouse. And then I found a frame. I don't know if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about it. I found a frame that's a little bit longer. And so my plan is to take some of the leftover linen and piece it so it's longer. And then I have some lace to hide the seam. And then I have a couple keys. Since there's a key here, I thought it would be fun to put a couple keys somehow in the bottom above where the frame would show. So anyway, so I'm kind of excited about doing that too. I had totally forgot about that. And then when I ran across it looking for something else, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta finish some of this stuff. I have a ton of stuff that's not finished. Imagine that. Although I do look back and I mean, I have finished quite a few things. I'm not a complete slacker by that means, but there's still more to be done. So I got to drink more Dr. Pepper and get at it. Anyway, oh my gosh, it's 46 minutes I've been rattling on. So I better get off here. And I hope you've had a good time just seeing some of my things I've been thinking about and working on. I hope it motivates you to get some of your stuff out. If you do and you want to share it with me, I am on Instagram, LisaAbbey9137. And so people share pictures with me there a lot. So if you want to, hop on there, follow me there, and we can message back and forth and inspire each other. And anyway, I haven't really been doing much decorating. My plan was to work outside, but today there was a chance of flurries. It was just 80 on the weekend, and now on Wednesday there's flurries. So I doubt that I'll be outside working much. I probably should go clean my house. I gave my dog a couple stuffed animals from the thrift store to play with. And wouldn't you know, they had those little BB things in the bottom to kind of weight them. Yeah, Bella found one of those. And so there's those little clear BB things everywhere. Thankfully, she doesn't eat them or anything. She just likes to spread them around. So I have to go clean that up sometime today. But anyway, whatever you do, I hope it brings you joy. And I thank you for staying and hanging out with me. And I hope you'll come and see me again. Take care.